Hi, my name is Uday Narang. I'm the chairman and founder of Omega Seiki Mobility, India's fastest growing EV company. Great to be here on the podium.
Once in every 30 years, we see the emergence of a major technology trend that completely disrupts the business landscape. The last such trend was the availability of internet on mobile, which led to the birth of companies like Zomato, Uber, and many more. The big shift that is currently happening is the move from internal combustion engines to electric vehicles, and this will lead to the birth of a new set of giants in this space. And one of the leaders in this space of electric mobility is Omega Seiki. Omega Seiki Mobility was founded by Uday Narang, and he brings to the table both his personal background as a hedge fund manager and his family background of running one of India's leading auto components manufacturers. In this freewheeling conversation, Uday shares his journey of building Omega Seiki, his management philosophy, and he decodes the major trends in the EV industry. Stay tuned and subscribe to the Founder Thesis podcast on any audio streaming platform to learn about the large opportunities that some of the most innovative startups in India are chasing.
I always thought the three and the two-wheeler would be the first ones to go because that's where, and I also only wanted to do logistics because why? Logistics, the transport business creates the most environmental damage to this country. And I thought that would also be an area where, you could actually give the TCO model where it could actually work. See, what's important for me is nobody gives a monkey about the environment in India. That person on the ground floor needs to make 500 rupees a day. How does he or she make that money so that he can actually take it home and his kids can get an education or a healthcare or his wife's, sister's wedding or mother's healthcare? So I wanted to build products for India, in India, right from the beginning. I obviously wanted to do alliances, but the key was I was before local for vocal, before Make in India, before all of this came in, we were already working. Even our first product, Rage Plus, was 99.9% India. The cells came from China, and that is also changing now, where with the latest announcement we've done of bringing cells from C4V and IM3NY from the United States. So look, the key part was sustainability, green energy, but costing, Make in India, products that Indians could use, which were sensitive. And Indians are the most price sensitive in the world to be able to do.
So how does one go about building an EV? Like, tell me that journey. Like, essentially, like you have started a car company or a two-wheeler company or a three-wheeler company. Like, how does one go about putting it together?
Is hard work. There's two approaches. There's some of my friends have done is that they build prototypes. They don't have factories. And this is you can do all your homework, Akshay, and look at it. Most of the startups had nothing. They just built a prototype. They said, I worked 9 years on building a prototype. Then they raised monies. Then they made a factory. Some of them are still building factories, right? Me, I said, F that. I want to build products. I want to put my money where my mouth is, right? I want to put the R&D centers. I want to pull the factories. I got 5 factories already, right? I want to put the factories down. I want to build the alliances. I want to make everything. There is a word that I use, a couple of words I use. I've learned Hindi. I never used to speak Hindi before I came back. The point is, what I want to say is, एक होता है करूंगा, करूंगा, पैसे दोगे तो करूंगा. एक है कर रहा हूं, right? I believe when you put your money where your mouth is, when you feel skin in the game, when it's not OPM, other people's money, then you keep in your heart, every rupee comes out of my pocket. And if I lose it, it hurts. It hurts. And when I see today, all of these companies burning thousands of crores and saying they're a success, I say, that's not success. Success is where you build a business. Okay, you don't need to be old school. Okay, I'm not saying that the old school, but you've got to hit P&L. You cannot say 10 years down the road, I am building a business for the future. And I just don't. I see all the stocks of all of these companies taking a hammering because they keep. So the key model is you've got to make money and you've got to return shareholder value. That comes from my 30 years in Wall Street. And I think success, जीत उसी की होगी जो पैसे बना के देगा. Look, all of this technology, all of this razzmatazz is good, but you gotta make money for Akshay's mother or Akshay's sister or somebody out there who's investing their hard-earned money in companies to be able to get a return. Sorry, Akshay, this is today's reality. I want to support. I support startups. I've done a lot of work with startups if you look at history. But you got to make money. And I see balance sheets year after year after year. And I'm not going to name names. You look through the line of places. When will they make money? Yes, you keep saying technology, because the favorite word of everyone today, Akshay, is technology. I think your maid also has technology, right? Sorry to say that, right? Because everyone coming out of anywhere says, I have the best technology. Listen, bring technology, but also bring a sustainable business, and also bring a business where fundraising is not the only game. You are in the automobile business. So how do you go about it? You go about it by building brick by brick. You build R&D centers, you build safety centers, you build factories, you build, dealerships, you build financing, you build the whole ecosystem, you build the village. And I am personally look, my journey is not about just building unicorns. I will be happy if 100 startups come into this space, build safe products, safety first, not money first, safety first. And if they are building that, they'll make money and then build the entire ecosystem. We are the third largest economy in the world in the near future. We are the third largest automobile market in the world. We have got the youngest population. I go to Europe, I go to America, I go to Japan and Korea. They're all old, man. I don't get any energy. I come to this country and I see so much. And I know, I don't need charging up. You can clearly see I'm already charged up 24/7. And I want to tell you one thing, that building a business is building the bricks one by one. Building a business is building the whole ecosystem, charging, a battery, powertrains, motors, building the system, building the dealerships, all of this. Then only we will have. I tell the government, you build PLI schemes in battery, you build PLI schemes in automotive parts. That's supply side economics. If you don't bring financing, then the demand without purchasing power doesn't constitute demand, right? So you've got to be able to build this, to be able to build. So I am continuously building over the last 9 years, the ecosystem. This is not about OSM. This is about building India. This is about building the ecosystem. Uday Narang doesn't care about Uday Narang or OSM. He cares about men and women, children and their children to live a better. And listen to me, mate. I got no interest in being in politics. I've got no interest. For me, I want to be part where 20 years later or 30 years later, I am not just, unfortunately, just a guy on the picture on the wall. We want to do something. We got to make a change. And India is in that environment where I think if we play it right, man, Biden last night made an announcement saying 1 million jobs are going to come from India to the United States. Ab maza aa raha hai na? Listen, I'm apolitical. But when President Biden can make a speech saying 1 million jobs came from India, I want to know how many jobs was ever. So this is superb. Now we've got to take that. So I am part of that ecosystem, whether it is batteries with Log9 or Exponent, or whether it is building powertrains with multiple players, whether it is building telemetrics, whether building dealerships, whether it's building, charging infra with ADOR and other players, So we are working continually. OSM is about building a new India.
So I want to kind of pin you down on the specific process. You must have gone through a journey where, let's say, you built an R&D center, took out a prototype, and then figured out, okay, let's make this ready to manufacture. There must be a process, and I would find it fascinating to hear about the process of how an EV at scale gets built. And you must have had experiments which failed also during the way. So
many times.
I'd love to hear that journey.
We spent 3-4 years really building the vehicle, building the powertrain, working with the battery.
Which vehicle did you start with? Two-wheeler?
We started with Rage Plus. Rage Plus was a 3-wheeler, which was our first, product. And multiple other products have come after that, but I'm going to come back to the history. So we built Rage Plus. Before that, we used to call it
like last mile delivery.
Last mile delivery, yes, and cargo, yes. That was then we've come with Frost. We've come multiple. That's where we started. But also, we spent a significant amount of time looking at the safety of the product. We built multiple products. We crash tested them. We drove them through. So we built initially. We took to the drawing board. We did the powertrains. We tested multiple 50 different powertrains. We worked multiple, spaces of, batteries. We worked with chassis. We worked in different, labs. Then we built about 100 vehicles. Okay? Usually most guys don't have the money. They build 1 or 2 because they just don't have the money, right? So we built those. And we took 100 vehicles from Faridabad. Faridabad.
Okay.
I have Omega has about 10 factories in Faridabad, in all across Haryana. So I built everything in-house at that time. Our R&D center was also in Faridabad, and Pune also, in Chakan also, because I have multiple. We have 7 factories in Chakan. And I, we have an industrial background, right? It was not something that just, came from a lab only. I hired a bunch of young guys and girls to work with me. I would spend, I think in the last 5 years, 60 to 70% of the nights I spent in the factory. Okay. And when I say in the factory, I sleep in the factories. I have a bunk there, right? I built, even during Corona, there was not one day I stayed inside. I took permission from the government. I did a lot of charity work, so I got permission to go all the time. I built hospitals. I did a lot of work in CSR during, when I saw people walking from Delhi to Jaipur or somewhere else. I did a lot of work. I didn't come in the front line. I didn't want PR. I didn't want to do the work. I brought air. I bought, oxygen plants from Korea. I did a lot of stuff. I set up hospitals. I did massive work in that space. But during that, I built these 100 products and we tested them in the deserts of Jaisalmer, in the mountains close to Nepal. We took them everywhere. We took them in the rainy Cherrapunji. We took them all over. We took them to Africa. I took them to the Gulf. I took them to Thailand. I took them to Cambodia, Vietnam, and we've just burned them to the ground. Testing. There was about an 8-9 month period where I would rotate across the countries with my teams, data, understanding what worked, got many batteries that caught fire, got many technologies that didn't work. I bought many powertrains, burnt a lot of money, Akshay, a lot. Okay, an individual burning that, and I think my mother said, I think you're going crazy, right? And I said, Mom, this is not about. I mean, there were many times when, because the budgets were just going like this. There was no return, and then COVID came, and people said, "Wow, you're putting more money at work." I invested more money during COVID than I've ever invested in any of my companies. So again, I told you, when there's a fire, I'm the first one to run it because there's an opportunity, right? I spent time in Argentina when that crashed. I spent time in multiple countries where there was problems before. So I've had that background. And again, I told you I'm a very risk-taking guy. I do burn my hands too. So we took, coming back to it, we tried NMC, we tried LFP, we tried multiple battery technologies.
What are these battery technologies? NMC.
We tried LFP, lithium manganese, NMC is manganese, nickel, cobalt, LFP, multiple different types of battery, technologies, solid state batteries, aluminum air batteries. We tried all different powertrains from all over the world. We built our own powertrain with the Koreans. to be made in India. We tested them in the minus 50 degrees in Korea. So it was continuous testing. We took all the data. We went back to the drawing board. After burning significant amount of capital, we built another vehicle and we put the boxes. And look, Akshay, every day we look at the competition, we benchmark, and we are working on multiple new products. We are known. We're like Zara. New products, new design, new technology, again and again. Well, somebody during the auto show, a lot of our competitors, staff, I'm a guy on the front line, Akshay. I know it pretty much. I spend 90% of my time out there in the front line, right? And I looked, and I know who works where. And they would come underneath and take pictures. I said, don't hide. Take all the pictures, because by the time you're going to copy this, there's going to be 2 new other or 3. Then you copy that, and then you copy. So I think this is where I believe in Elon. Some of our friends will say, well, my technology. There's no technology. Everything's open source. Everybody can copy everything today. I can buy your vehicle. I can tear it down. I can buy your people. I think you got to continually develop. So for me, it's continuous development. That has always been there in powertrains, batteries.
You made that second lot of 100. That was again 100. You made the second.
Yeah, make a second lot of 100. And I'll tell you what, those 100 stood on the parking lot. My entire team said, this is not going to work. And I said,
why is that?
Patience. Because they were, because you have to understand, an average employee comes to work, he or she wants to see that product moving up because they think, this is going to shut down. And I said,
these 100 were for sales, like the next 100 you made.
Yeah.
Okay. And they were not moving.
They were not moving. And I said, take time. Let me test. Let me put it with logistic players. And it took like 2-3 months and the pressure was there. And I said, keep building. Don't bother. Here's the money. Keep building. And we built another 300. I said, focus on that. Build better products. And I sold the first 100, and then we've never looked back.
And when was that?
This started probably in 2020, January.
Okay. Just before COVID.
And I just kept going. And after that, we never looked back. I said, new products. We came up with Frost, which was during COVID. We came out with passenger vehicles.
Just talk about each of these products also. So Race Plus was like a 3-wheeler last mile.
It's a 3-wheeler last mile, 140 kilometer with different boxes, 140, 150, now 170, because some of our competitors came up with 170. We just kept building, right? That's fine. That's developing on the marketplace. During COVID, I came up with transportation of vaccine from the airports to hospitals. It was called Rage Plus Frost. It's 0 degrees. It can, now we're building a minus 10 degree, and it can transport. Now we're using it for food, for medical, for curd, for milk, for chocolates, for everything else.
So basically you made Race Plus like a platform on which you can have multiple
different. We've got for different Meals for Wheels, where we can do it for food. We're doing, we obviously use the same platform now for the passenger, which is called Stream, which is for the rural India. Stream City, which is what you see.
Stream is like that auto rickshaw which we see on the roads, something like that.
Exactly, but the much bigger one. It can take. It says 6, but they put 25 on it. Right? in rural Haryana. So the key part is in the auto show I just showcased Muse, which is a design which looks like a mouse. Right? For European and Indian market, air conditioned. We came up with Craze, which is the G-Wagon.
EV, 3-wheeler EV, which is
everything is EV. I'm born electric.
It's a 3-wheeler.
3-wheeler. And that is like a G-Wagon, Mercedes G-Wagon on air condition for rural India, with a pricing related to about 3.5-4 lakhs that can use for transportation.
Like what's the use case for like a commercial vehicle 3-wheeler air conditioner?
No, this is a passenger. It's not a commercial. It's a passenger vehicle.
Okay.
So I moved into also passenger because I could see that the demand of passenger. So we were so successful in cargo where we started going into passenger. See, I'm a guy that looks at, I built a product called, we built a 2-wheeler, which is called Mopedo. It's not a Mopedo. It's not a moped, but it's built for rural India where you can put 8 people on it, plus you can put load on it in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu. So we built products like that. I built a four-wheeler, which is called M1KA, the brand, which is the 1 ton, and I've got a 3.5 ton. The M1KA today beats every four-wheeler that is in this country. Hands down. I'm proud to say this in terms of range, in terms of design, in terms of quality, in terms of safety, airbags, air conditioning. So look, I keep telling you, we kept on building. And मैं फिर बोल रहा हूं, अक्षय, करूंगा और कर रहा हूं. Please understand, है? पैसे रेस करके तो अक्षय तू भी EV company बना देगा. 100%. You don't need to do podcasts. I'm sure you can. You can hire all. So now I'm not saying that people cannot build it, but what I'm saying is OSM DNA is continually build it, continually make it. We build, then we saw the supply chain issue, right? And when we did the supply chain issue, Akshay, I said, I need to control powertrains and batteries. The cells were coming from China. I said, no way. I did a deal with C4V IM-N3Y, which is owned by the chairman is Dr. Shailesh Aprethi. It's solid. It's a batteries technology that is world class, that has got a gigafactory already in the US, is setting up other gigafactories. They just aligned with Regenerate in Australia. They took over British Wool just last week. So see, there are people that I'm aligning with are long-term historical technologists, people who are scale, people who have size, who have history, who can deliver, right? And you cannot do everything. Technology, आज जो technology कह रहे हैं, मैंने बना ली जिसपे पैसा उठा लिया. But 6 months later, that technology is going to be gone, right? So we do a mixture of alliances and technology. Everything has to be made in India. So again, we built 3-wheelers, cargo, 3-wheelers, passenger. We did the 4-wheeler cargo. We built the powertrains, the batteries. Okay? We did it. Now, we also are unofficially the largest logistic company in the country under the name Uno Express. I have got vehicles, the largest amount of vehicles, electric vehicles. So I am building a delivery of electric, right? And that's what it should be. All of our logistics should be electric, right? And so, if you look at the whole stack, and on top of that, my friend, I built a factory in Bangladesh, which is going to start in 3 months. I'm announcing next week something on trucks on Bangladesh. We are in Nepal. We're in Sri Lanka. We are in Africa. My trucks are running in UAE. I'm setting up something in Riyadh. We are setting up in Latin America, and we're setting up in Asia. So I'm telling you, if you do a history in a 5-year timeline, in the history of automobiles, nobody has done this.
Yeah.
So what I want to tell you is, if you benchmark me and you look me against everybody else, I'm not competing with everybody. I am running by myself. And on top of that, the entire money, my friend, is mine. So if I lose, it's me who loses. So you see, this is not about, it's the conviction that I bring to the table, right? And I might not, and listen, I might not be the biggest success, but I tell you this, I'm going to be a disruptor. I'm going to make life miserable for everybody else, and I'm going to make better products. And if I make better products, competitors will make a better product. And if they make a better product, Akshay, who will be helped? It will be the consumers. Yeah? And that is my goal. And that is my mission. And that is why I'm fighting every day.
So, I want to kind of zoom into your go-to-market in terms of how you built that sales muscle. You initially started with B2B sales, right? You would be looking at logistics companies like that 100 lot which you sold off during 2020, early 2020. Tell me the journey from there. That I'm sure you would have probably managed through networking, reaching out and so on. But how did you scale up the sales organization, your go-to-market?
Sure. We looked at it initially, as I told you, I would understand all the needs of the logistic company. So that was B2, it was Amazon, Flipkart, BigBasket, all of them, but others. I worked with milk companies in rural Tamil Nadu. I went to cylinder companies in Karnataka. I went to Punjab with Amul and other players. I went to, the North. I went to West Bengal. So I worked with multiple players. Then everyone said, I want to do e-sales. And I'm like, this is India. when you get out of tier 1 cities, people want to, and this is not Mercedes-Benz or BMW or Honda. I'm working in 3-wheeler markets and 2-wheeler cargo markets, lower end. I said, we're going to build a system of dealerships across this country. People say you're a fool. The new world or the new technology will sell. I said, technology will sell, but I want to be out there. So I made a promise. Every dealership in this country will be opened by myself. Mate, it is killing me, right, to go. On Sunday again, I'm going to be on the 158th dealership in Punjab, right?
Wow.
We are opening up every district, every village, everywhere, some small, some big. I want to be able to be touching. The reason being, the dealerships will have the service centers. The service centers will have training centers. The training centers will lead to people understanding electric vehicles. How does it work? How do you charge? How in a range you don't burn the charger? It is about touching people's lives. This is about running a long-term marathon. This is not a sprint. Akshay, I'll be doing this 20 years down the road. If I'm long enough, 30 years down the road. This is not something that I'm here to just sell 80% of my stock and move on. Okay? I own the majority. I own all of it. I think I plan to have the majority shareholding of this company. I will build a business after the legacy of Mr. Bajaj Pro. I think that there is an opportunity where make in India for the global. So Akshay, I'm not saying, that's why I'm saying I might not be the richest, I might not be the biggest, I might not bring unicorns, but I will tell you, if I work on the front lines, sooner or later, more and more people will work and understand. And my goal is a bit different, right? More vehicles, more ecosystem, more challenges, more new people, more cities, more districts. That is going to bring the scale. And if the scale comes, it helps our country. And it helps, I don't know if you have kids or not, but if you do, or if you plan to have, I would love for them to live in a cleaner. See, and Akshay, you can afford an air purifier. I've spent hours and hours and days in the rain and the cold. A person living out there, he or she cannot afford it. And I think what I don't want this country to be a 10 trillion economy and 5 people being 9.5 trillion and all the rest of us. So I want to make sure that they get that environment, because if we don't fix the environment, then the future generation of our kids are going to be in problem.
On the go-to-market, the franchisees or the dealerships, are these like the way the traditional automotive dealerships are set up, or is there a difference here? Like,
look, it's a hybrid. We work with, we work in helping, in service. We help initially the first year or two to the dealerships to stand on their feet, to make sure they get all the financing. We help them in sales. We educate them. Look, it's something that, I use a word in Spanish, la familia. These dealers are my family. When I go to the dealerships, you see their kids and their wives and their grandparents and their mothers come. They're putting their money. So for me, they are part of OSM. They are my family. So we continually work as a mixture of traditional, some hybrid, some we work with in multi-brand. I don't care. The reason is I would like more service and I would like better education and more products. And I'll tell you what it's going to do is, it's great to have Altigreen, Euler, Bajaj, Mahindra, Piaggio. This is all going to help build the ecosystem. Saran builds a better product or Sora builds a better product. The customer benefits. I'll try to build a better product. So I think we're all complementary. There's no competition here, at least for me. I don't know everybody else, but I don't look at it competition. I look at it, we are like, Kenyans. I'm into fitness. You run the first 20 miles together and the last 6 miles for yourself, right? But we're not even at the first 500 meters, right? We got a long way to go. So the market is big enough. The demand is big enough. Let's work together and do it.
So now, do you exclusively sell through dealerships, or do you also have like a direct sales channel for like corporate sales? And
we have a combination of all, but I try to sell a lot through the dealers. It incentivizes them. It also
they need
gives
to
them,
money.
see, I know B2B, I need B2C, I need BTL activities. I want the product to be shown. So look, I don't want to eat everything today. All right. I eat less anyway. So I'm happy to share. I'm happy to build the ecosystem and we go from there. And so I don't mind, even if a buyer, most of the people know me, they come directly. We send them to the dealers. Say, look, Spencer, we'll explain everything. We'll do everything. You do the testing, but you buy from them. And, you build the relationship. We ask them to build a relationship so that in the future, they continually because the IRR of dealers, they're your best friends and then your worst enemies if they don't get right. And so I would like them. And I told you, they're my family. So I would love for them to continually work with me and get, an IRR.
And so can you share some numbers, like what kind of monthly revenues or number of units you're selling and what's the split? How much comes from which city or which product or how much to dealership and direct?
So we're selling about 500 a month now. Our line this year will cross over 200 crores. It will be very significant in the three-wheeler industry. In the cargo sector, we are one of the leaders. I think, फिर कह रहा हूँ, कर रहे हैं, करेंगे अलग बात है. This year is going to be about 200 crores. We're doing about 500 a month. I have capacity for next year of up to 40,000. We've already built 4 factories. The 5th factory is here. We will have, we will sell close to 6,000 vehicles this year, financial year, with 4,000 in India and 2,000 export all across the globe. We will say, cities are difficult, but in the South, we would have sold 50%. In the West, we would have sold 15. In the East, about 15. And the rest of the country is the balance. Yeah.
So why is South so dominant?
Because the key part with the South is that they understand, technology better. They are forward-looking. They understand and explain. Even in the villages, we have found now UP is a market which is the largest market, but it's L3. We need to convert it to L5. It's all this imported
What
Chinese.
do these terms mean, L3, L5?
L3 means the e-rickshaw. You've seen the e-rickshaws that you see on the road. These are primarily kits bought from China, and they are not safe. They're not really, they register them, but to be honest, they're not safe. And they don't have any real battery. They do lead acid batteries and all of that kind of stuff. So I think that the government is cracking down hard. Next year, we should do about 500 crores. So I'll give you an example. We did the first year in 2019, 7 crores. Then we did 56 crores. Then we're doing 170, and then we're going to do 450. So the growth is quite exponential. We are going to be 150 dealerships, 158. I'm opening on Sunday. And then by March, we have a plan for 200. These will be the B2C. We've spent a lot of time, BTL activities. It takes time. We've given tests. We've set up RTOs, getting the licenses. We're all set up. Our hard work. So the B2B is there. I'm also coming up with a passenger that I've started to sell now. And next year, we should sell, of about a mixture of 10,000 cargo and about a 10,000 passenger. Now, I'm giving you a 450 to keep a very conservative approach. I always like to under-promise and over-deliver. That's always been my history as a fund manager. You always say you're going to return this and you return that, and customers and everybody loves you, right? Over-promising and under-deliver.
Help me understand the Indian consumer when it comes to buying commercial vehicles or buying, even your passenger vehicles are essentially commercial, right? Because they're used for moving people.
Yes.
So what is their buying behavior like?
The Indian consumer wants super quality, super vehicle, super everything, but he wants to pay nothing. That is our DNA. Okay. I want to buy a Ferrari on the price of a Maruti 800 or whatever. So we've got to figure out, he or she wants everything. They want technology, safety, quality, but they don't want to pay. So now the key part of this is why the Americans have never been successful here. Ford, GM, Harley have all come lost a lot of money, packed up shop and gone. Time and time and time. The Koreans and the Japanese have been very good at it. So I think, look, you've got to find where you can give a sturdy in the logistics space, sturdy product, quality in terms of safety, okay, range, and the biggest service. Because that cargo passenger or that cargo driver and that cargo, person that runs the business, one day vehicle shutdown hurts them, right? Yeah. So we continually service is what we are working on. Look, it's a learning. We run a very large logistic. So we see the problems of real time. We've got a war room here. Come sometimes to my headquarters. We watch every vehicle. We watch every part, what battery they need, what is the problem with the telemet, in the vehicle, maintenance, service, all of that. Service. If you give that, I think that's a very big part. Explaining to customers what vehicle requires, what is the battery technology. So we work with Log9 very heavily on this. We work with them on terms of customers. We work with them on education. We have classes. We will give service. We work as a team 24/7. And, there's many different, in the rainy season, the water goes up to my knees. They drive the electric vehicle into the water. They charge the wrong way, and you have to understand, those people don't take their blame. They say, the customer says it's the OEM fault. So, but, continually working with them, making sure they understand, working as partners, building the trust because you're a new start. 4 years ago, OSM, nobody knew. Today, I don't think in the three-wheel industry, everybody knows. So that, so you have to continually build a name. I'm looking for the next 30 years. So we're working on that. We're working on drones with EVs, UAVs and EVs together. See, it's a continuous process. I am not sitting. I came up with one powertrain. I'm working on generation 2, generation 3. This is a very different business, actually. You cannot sit on your laurels. Continuous development, R&D. That's why I've got an R&D center here in Korea, in Thailand. I'm building one in Europe.
You spoke about the total cost of ownership concept. Like it needs to be like a TCO neutral. How are you enabling that? Because the upfront cost for an EV is typically more than ICE engine, right?
Look, there's a couple of ways to do it. We have got different models where actually in the swap model, the price is below an ICE engine, right? Because battery is as a service, you don't need to pay, or you can lease a battery. With Log9, we've come up with 5-year pricing where we can go at less than 10,000 rupees a month in finance and retail. So actually there is no clear answer, but I would tell you in the three-wheeler, we've cracked the code. In my view, ICE is over. Okay, it's going to take time. If today we had the charging infrastructure, I think ICE would be finished. So rural India, we are working on fast charging, fixed, swap, 15-minute fast charging, and multiple other sources. I think 3 years from now, when the charging infrastructure is set up, the TCO model is so, because there's multiple opportunities of financing of batteries, vehicles, lease, rental, multiple other opportunities. In terms of, four-wheelers, we're not there yet. It'll take time. We're working on four-wheelers also in a big way. I think it takes time. I think in two-wheelers, it's already there. I think that, we've got to continually work on with fleets and in B2C with customers on solutions in terms of financing. And that is something, last week I announced India's largest financing deal with Mufin Finance, which is a listed company of over 300 crores. And we will be announcing some more. So I think, look, the time where I believe CNG is very expensive. The Delhi government has already said CNG is over. It's all going to be electric. I'm saying alternate fuels will be coming up. We are working in three-wheelers right now in testing in R&D centers with hydrogen. We are working on products which are called range extenders, where a hydrogen and a battery will work. The hydrogen will charge the battery on a continuous basis. It never stops. So there's so much going on, Akshay, here behind the scenes. And I told you, It won't be the same Piaggio or Mahindra coming the same vehicle for 50 years. Every year, new product. And what it will do, it will put the big boys and the girls and maybe the startups or the mid players like us continually pressing each other. And I think the game right now is a 3 or 4 on the top and 2 or 3. You've talked about you've talked about Ulo, Tigrinas. So there's 6, 7 of us fighting, and it's only going to help the consumer. And me, I'm going global. I'm not just India. I'm definitely working continuously global. So if you ask me, I'm the only one who at the moment, and I think the others are coming because they know the global story is even better also. So we are already working in that direction for the last couple of years. So my point to you is that the TCO model works. We are coming up with my swap model with Sun. We are working with some other players. Is working in 3 docks, 4 docks. The day we crack, which we are going to crack in the next month or two, 100 kilometers on swap. Well, the vehicle, if for example, the vehicle is 3.5 lakhs, you drop 1 lakh, well, it's over. Story's over, right? As long as you build the charging infrastructure, which we are working on, well, then it's over. Then this conversation doesn't exist. So I think more and more of this is happening. Now we want to work on the 4-wheelers on this.
Why isn't a swappable battery giving more than 100 right now, more than 100 kilometers range?
Because there's not
the same, right?
No, because the models, look, the batteries were first 1.5 into 3, now 2.1 kilowatt per battery. There's technologies developing, right? Initially, 3 years ago, we didn't have that technology. Also, they had to be lighter. They had to be safer. So it takes time. Technology is changing so fast, Akshay. 6 months or a year from now, when we maybe talk again, is hopefully you'll see technology will change again and we'll have new products again. We are working on 2nd and 3rd gen products right now, which I won't, which by that in a year's time, I will be able to bring, which these products will be, let others copy it. We'll move on to something else. Yeah.
And what was the deal you did with Mufin?
Mufin it's for 7,500 vehicles. It's in the press. 3,500 on B2B, 4,000 3-wheelers on B2C for up to 23 and 24. And there are multiple.
They will finance it.
100%.
And they will finance the customer or they will finance you? Like, what is the deal?
Finance the customer. They'll finance the customer.
Okay.
B2C.
Okay. So they're like your lending partners.
Yes. And I'm fine. And because 90% of the vehicles get financed. And what we're doing is there are multiple other deals of announcement like this where if I told you I'm selling 20,000 vehicles, I'm aligning finance for 30,000 vehicles so that I meet my goals. And I'm some 10, 20% I'll sell in cash also. You know what I mean? In terms of where people want to buy.
Do you want to take the Bajaj playbook? Like Bajaj has a separate finance business which started with financing their bikes. But now
I have a company I'm the only one who built Anglian Finvest is my financing company. I have done quite a bit there. I'm aligning with some other players. Yes, there will be. The financing business is a great business. They make more money than OEMs. I just saw Mufin Finance's returns. Fantastic, right? They're listed company. Yes, the answer is yes. OSM will work on that. Look, Akshay, I will build anything that helps build the ecosystem. And I'm continually working on this. If you see what we have talked about in the last hour or hour, 10 minutes, is that we built the entire ecosystem. I think that you will see OSM in the front lines of every part of the ecosystem.
And so what are you doing for charging infra? Are you building that yourself or are you collaborating through alliances?
I have two options. It's called OSM E-Link, which is our own company. We are working very closely with Quench. Quench is a Pune-based, owned by ADOR, which is Ravin Mirchandani. Man, they build chargers that are out of this world in terms of safety. They're building it for Europe or the United States. I will tell you, when you get a time, your next interview has to be with my friend Ravin Mirchandani. He's a superstar. He is somebody who I work with. He's an amazing, guy. Does beautiful work on charging. We are working with. He also works very closely with Charge Zone. We are working with everybody. Again, there'll be E-Link, it'll be Quench, it'll be whoever wants to work with us. We are working with Sun in terms of boxes with all of our dealerships for the charging. We will work with Exponent on the fast charging. We work with Log9. We will work with anyone that helps build the ecosystem. And I reach out to all the young men and women who are doing startups, you want to build the ecosystem, come join us. Come join us in this game and we'll support.
Okay. So let's talk about Uno Express. So Uno Express would be like a competitor to a delivery or an e-com express, like in that space of.
Yes. The reason I built Uno Express was a couple of things. There was not enough tier 2, 3, 4 cities where people were putting in Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi. I want to go to rural India, so I put vehicles there.
And you do last miles?
I do last mile.
Okay.
And it's also, it gives me real-time information. When I say you come to my office, at night, I sit with the guys when I'm done with the frontline workers. We see what the vehicles are being stopped, why the vehicles are being stopped. You learn so much data from real-time drivers and watching what is going on with the battery, what is happening in high temperatures, what's happening in rain, what's happening in cold, what's happening in different driving conditions. Luckily, I can say we've not had fire in one of our vehicles ever. We've been continuously monitoring this. So I think that Uno Express gives me that real-time touch. It gives me driving conditions. These guys are making so much less money. They drive vehicles into the water. They drive them into the holes. We try to motivate drivers. So it is my real-time test bench and continually improve. Uno Express will continually work, but at some stage, Uno Express will go like this. But right now, I'm putting more and more flags up in cities in the ground, and more people will come, and we will join them, and we'll let them in. We'll let this do this. But I felt if there was a problem, let's find a solution. If there was a financing problem, I put Anglian Finvest. If there was a logistic problem, I put Uno Express. In the trucks, we are continually doing the same now.
So Uno Express is like the way Google has their hardware division, which is to kind of set a benchmark, inspire people to come in, like the Pixel phones. The Uno Express is that for you. And plus it gives you better data about...
It gives me a lot of data, gives me a lot of time how to develop new products. It helps me test new products. It helps me test new batteries. It helps me test new powertrains. It gives me new products. We just came up with a glass. What the glass does is that our drivers at night feel drowsy. It sends a signal, right? It sends a signal whenever the driver is not stable, right? So I'm telling you, driver safety, there's so much we learn from Uno Express. And also, it gives me the touch, the human touch of a driver. How do drivers feel? How do I motivate them? How do I get them to earn more? How do I get them to be more efficient? How do I let my vehicles be more? It is like artificial intelligence and robotics all inclined for me. And it's something that I follow and analyze. I told you, I was an analyst at Wall Street. It helps me analyze the data.
Amazing. Can you tell me what the space looks like? You're doing about 500 vehicles a month. Are there other players also doing this kind of numbers, or like?
I think if you look
who
at
are the competitors here? Like
the competitors right now, we're in the top 2 or 3. I think it's Piaggio, Mahindra, us. They are doing a little bit more because they're doing passenger. I'm coming into passenger where I'll double up. I think I would say Altigreen and Uller are coming up. So the battle royale will be between all of us, between this and Bajaj and TVS. So it'll be between you and me. A year or 2 years down the road, it'll be between. I'm being so bold. If you ask this to anybody, they probably won't answer this, but I'll answer it. You figured you've got me, so you ask it. It's Piaggio, Mahindra, us, Altigreen, Uller, TVS, Bajaj, 7, and then some others in the bottom. I think the battle royale is going to be out there in the next 2 years. And I think the consumers are going to benefit.
What is the total addressable market for commercial vehicles?
I think it's
commercial electric vehicles.
It's going to be about L5 is going to be about 1 million. I think that grows.
And what is L5? L5 is, you told me, the 3-wheelers which are imported from China.
No, that's the L3s. Those are the L3s.
L3s. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not counting the L3. The L3 is a separate market. But the L5 between cargo and passenger, it's going to be about 1 million. And I think it grows. India. Internationally, it's another few million. So I think that it will grow at 10 to 15% over a year. So it's a substantial market. It has a growth opportunity in three-wheelers. In trucks, it's again, in the 1-ton truck, it's a 300,000 market. In this 3.5-ton, there's 100,000 market. So as we develop products, now the difference is a lot of new developments are happening in products and a lot of developments are happening in terms of technology. So I think that the three-wheeler market continues to grow in areas which you didn't think it would be there. And I think the L3 market will continually go down and the L5 will cut into that too as pricing changes. So I think, a short term is $1 million to $1.5 million. In 5 years, it's a couple of million mark.
Amazing. Okay. What do you think the commercial vehicle industry will look like 10 years from now? Like, would there have been some consolidation with like 3 or 4 dominant players? Like, what we've seen in like, say, the traditional ICE engine space, like, the consolidation happens. Like in US, they're like those big 3 car makers. Do you think something similar will happen here, or what do you see?
In the next 5 years, 10 years actually is a long time because technology changes. It's changing so fast. I can give you the next 5 years. I think in the next 5 years, I told you, it'll be a combination of top 3 of the traditional and possibly some of this new out of 3 or 4 of us, there'll be a player in there and then the others will be, below. Or there could be a new revolutionary product, one person that comes in. The table, it's musical chairs. You're going to come back. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to come back. You're going to get knocked down. Okay? The guys and girls who are going to survive is people who 5 years down the road are making money because the funds will stop putting money if you don't make money. And there's multiple examples in this country now of what that is happening. I will keep telling you, jeet unki hogi jo paise banaye. Khareedna customer is not the right strategy. At least in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe the world will change. But I've been around the game long enough. I've been in Wall Street. I've been in High Street. I've been in many streets. And I'll tell you what. I will tell you one thing. If I'm not the top 3, I'm still fighting out here. And you'll see me out there. You'll see me till the moment I'm here on this planet fighting for green energy and sustainability.
Okay. So far you've funded it from internal accruals of the group companies, right? So what's the plan going forward? And how much have you invested so far?
We've invested about 180 to 200 crores of my own money. Okay. Which I think as an individual is not a bad amount. I mean,
but it's fairly capital efficient. I would say, like compared to what other players have invested, you've been very capital efficient.
Because why, Akshay? Every rupee is mine, right? It's mine, right? I travel economy. I sleep in friends' homes. I love it. Do it like it's something like, I'm into car racing. I might be leading in the car race, but there's 50 more laps to go. So I have to always have money. I'm in the middle of a $100 million raise. I've just started it. Wanted to put the numbers on the board. I wanted to pay enough for the financial year. I'm now starting to talk to bigger funds. I'm talking to international funds. And so 100 million is not going to be enough. I think we're going to continue to grow, but I think the 100 million will get me very well set to be, I can tell you with a shadow of a doubt, among the top 2 or 3 players, even give a fight to the big boys and girls. Because what they do with 100, I do with 15 to 20.
Yeah. You think you're stretching yourself very thin because there are so many things you're doing. You're running a logistics company, you're running a fintech company, you're running an EV company, components company. It's unbelievable number of businesses that you're running.
Look. With the right people, with the right group of energy, with the right thought process, I believe we will hit on every angle. I keep saying, me saying it, whether I'll do it or not, that's to prove the naysayers. That's the question. You've asked some, Akshay, It's like an investor meeting. I'm loving it. You're asking all the questions that all these PE funds ask me. I'm loving it. Next time you're in Delhi, please come see. We'll have a dinner. I love guys like you who, not because I do a lot of podcasts, not podcasts, but I do a lot of speeches, or I do a lot of speak to in the media regularly. But I'm loving what you're, is that I think that we, with our partnerships, we with our alliances, we with our relationships, they're doing the work with us, right? This is not Uday Narang or OSM by itself. It is a mission. It's like Forrest Gump running and hundreds of people running with us. So I think that's the difference. I think that I know when to give the race. I know when I need to take off the accelerator, right? I told you, the logistic company will slowly reduce the speed and we'll let the new players come in. We'll build something and we'll let them come out. So it is a very dynamic, very real-time business. So that's what I'm saying. You want to compete with me? Train 24 hours. Let me see you on the court at 4 o'clock in the morning. Let me see you after you raise the first 200 million. Let me see you in the sunshine and let me see you in the storm. Come, do it. No problem. I'm confident. And I'm not saying I'll lose, but I'll come back.
Can you share, how you manage so many things? Do you have a certain leadership style? Do you have a certain, can you share some management hacks on how you keep all your balls in the air?
I only work on two principles: integrity and integrity. I give you a lot of leeway. Don't fail me. There's no strike 1, 2, 3. There's only one strike, right? But I'm the most caring person. I see some competitors of mine firing people regularly. I have hardly very low attrition. Like if I offer you 1 rupee salary and you offer him 10, then that's a different ballgame. But people are my family. I know their birthdays. I know their children's. I know their mothers. I have that personal touch. If you ask me, a PE investor just asked me last week in Mumbai, what's your biggest weakness? I said, I'm too nice, but I'm nice in terms of if you are dedicated to the cause. It's la familia. We work together. We take a hit together. So I think my style is I'll give you all the leeway. I'll let you build your own business. I'll let you do whatever you want. And if you need me, the first one to take the bullet is me. On the front line, you need me, I'm there. If you have a problem, call me. I want to be there as a leader in your trouble. And if it's a fault, and if it's a failure, it's my failure. If it's a success, it's your success. That's my model. I also think giving not just money, the respect, giving the feeling of ownership, giving everybody a chance to build their own future and an opportunity to build their own future. That's the only way you're going to be able to work. And I have had people I know, or I used to know we are 450 strong right now. I keep it very tight compared to others. I think I know 400 of them. The Chaprasi knows me. On a Sunday, I go have lunch with him sometimes, or I'll go to his home. The other day, I saw I was coming from the factory. I saw one of my workers. I don't know, he didn't have a jacket. He was a contractual worker. I stopped by out of my car. I just gave him my jacket. I said, take this jacket, mate. You don't need to be cold. And so I think those things on the front lines go a long way. The leadership gets everything, but it's those people in the front lines that need to be feeling part of the company.
Help me understand a little bit more about the way things get done. For example, like Amazon has this culture where they have those 6-page memos and that is the way things happen. Or like say Google has this culture where they do a lot of experiments and the ones that succeed, they break them up. Whereas Apple has like a completely different culture. And then, what is the way in which you build culture? What kind of culture are you building?
Look, for me, as I say, different horses for different courses. Now, in the production lines, we let all the teams work, whether it's a Gemba or, we take the Japanese, Korean, American cultures and mix them up. We make sure we incentivize people to bring safety in quality, in purchasing. We figure out how do we bring not just cheapest price, but safest products. In terms of R&D, we incentivize people to come And look, we create a collegial atmosphere. There's no timings of coming in and out. You just do what you need to do. You give them the money on projects. Some fail, some don't fail. You give them new projects that they believe they want to be, for the designers in the R&D center, they want to build something like Revan. They're always building something. I also will give people enough. We sit in meetings, but I don't want too long meetings. I want people to come to meetings with a point, deliver, be gone. We do a lot of, I sit on the front line most of the time. My door is actually always open. I'm sitting here because my door is so open. People are just coming in and out. So if I want to, I'm sitting in my studio so that now this is the longest probably podcast I've done with anybody where I haven't had a phone call pick up or a person walk into so we have a very open door policy. I'm the first one in.
People first or process first? Like, what do you, some companies are more process oriented.
I think it's people first for me. Always. Process is part of it, but if it's people not first, then you're never going to look, in today's market, there are enough opportunities in this country. If people don't feel, if it's just a revolving door, you're never going to achieve anything. It takes people a year to get something done. And I see CVs where in a hiring speed, 6 months, 8 months, 6 months, 8 months. I don't know how anything can get achieved. Obviously they're jumping for a raise, but I just don't see that working. I think that, I am a very people person. We have got enough, we've got new management, new people. We've got head of supply, head of R&D, quality, system, service, head of retail just joined yesterday. So look, this is continually building up. I see myself 5 years from now opening up doors internationally and this being run 100% professional. Me, I'm a builder. I'm Bob the Builder. Okay. Taking it from Bob the Builder on a speed like this. When it goes like this, there'll be CEOs running this place and I'll be doing more international business and I'll be building a global brand for OSM.
So your approach is broadly like to set up something and then find people who will run it and give them independence, go do the thing and just have big picture conversations with them.
I do the heavy lifting. I build it. I move on, right? Running a business like this is for others. I'm a developer. I'm a startup. I'm a guy that builds new things, takes it to scale and then goes and builds the next scale, right? We are working on right now, next generation drones with our EVs. We are working on as I told you, working on hydrogen. We are working on multiple stuff, which you'll see
what is the
line of products come.
By when do you think India will have self-driving vehicles?
It's a long way, man. I think in universities and in airports, yes. But I think self-driving vehicles we will have, but in mass scale, it's a long time because we have so much. We have cows and we have roads and we have so many things going on in this country. But I think in controlled areas, yes, I would say the next 5 years.
Okay.
In logistics space, in certain areas, we can.
This lithium find which just happened in GNK, is that a game changer?
Look, I wrote something on LinkedIn today. You might want to read it. I think that I'm writing quite a bit on a lot of subjects. I get up at 4, when I don't sleep much at 4 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock, I write something up. I think that let's not get excited. It's a great start, but there's a lot. I leave it like this. I'm not putting any, damn squib on it. Don't judge a book by the cover. Let's look at it. There's a lot of R&D that needs to be done. We need to look at the quality. It's a great news and more will be done. Another thing is when you drill, you destabilize the area. You've got earthquakes happening. You've got to be careful. It's a great start, but I would like to be, don't just react on a headline. Read the entire book. I'll leave it to that. I'm not saying it's a great situation, but I think we're getting a bit too...
it's premature to celebrate.
I would say, take your time. Take your time. It's a victory. It's a victory. It's a single. It's not a home run. So we're counting it as a full four home runs.
And that brings us to the end of this conversation. I want to ask you for a favor now. Did you like listening to this show? I'd love to hear your feedback about it. Do you have your own startup ideas? I'd love to hear them. Do you have questions for any of the guests that you heard about in this show? I'd love to get your questions and pass them on to the guests. Write to me at ad@thepodium.in. That's ad@thepodium.in.